Hey, everybody, I'm John Granato, and that's Lance Zerline. You can hear us mornings on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet so you can get all of our content here at SportsMap HOU. Lance, this is a crappy start for Lovie. We've seen the conservative. We saw the punt to get the tie. We see a team that can't finish. We see a lot of the same stuff that we saw last year under Cully. I'm hearing a lot of grumbling right now. There's no way Lovie is one and done, right?
I don't think so, but, it always feels like if this were a soccer team, 100%. Soccer teams don't mess around, so they'll just fire away and bring someone else in. I don't think you can do that if the Texans – I think it's a bad look to fire two African-American coaches in back-to-back one-year seasons when there's a Brian Flores, lawsuit where he's saying – well, he said what he said, but then Steve Wilkes, another black coach who got 1 year in Arizona. I think it's a bad look in general for the NFL for a guy. I think for any coach to get 1 year, I think is very, very bad. But I think more to the point of just football for a second, Lovie Smith, you knew he was a conservative-minded coach. Most defensive coaches are. This is his third year in the NFL. What you're building for is to try to build a better culture, more accountability, things like that. You may not like the in-game stuff with Lovie right now, but there's a bigger battle going on right now, and it's for the Texans to get guys who are accountable, to set a standard, and the standard is not necessarily going to be set in the first three games. So I do want to see improvement. I want to see better football play. We all do. But the job of Lovie Smith is going to be much bigger than just wins and losses this year. It's going to get them prepared for what's to come the next few years. How are you studying? How are you handling practice? How are you handling your rehab stuff? All that, the things that we don't get to see. The in-game stuff, not great. I don't love it, and you don't love it, and no. Texans fans don't love it. I do think we have to understand this is a much more big-picture process that's going to take more than a year, and some of it's going to be on Nick Caserio to, frankly, get better players in here, too.
I think this is different than this Arizona situation that you brought up in that Lovie, this is his third team. It's not like we only gave him 1 year, one shot. Like Cully, he only had 1 year to prove anything. Cully was a hire that should have never been made. He didn't deserve to be there. There was no one else that thought he was head coach material other than the Texans. They gave him a bunch of money to go away, and that was fine and good. And they may give. I don't think that it's going to happen because I don't know what the Athletic was thinking this past week doing that big article on Josh McCown. I don't know if that was a Texan. The Texans gave that to him. Hey, let's put out a nice piece on Josh McCown that he's head coaching material so that the Texans can hire him and look good. I don't think any of that is happening, but I do think that it's not nearly as egregious as that situation in Arizona. Now, firing back-to-back. Listen, the only team that's hiring back-to-back African-American coaches is the Houston Texans. So you've got that. But, no, I agree with you. This is not the year. He's going to get at least one more and possibly even longer than that to prove that he can. Because, let's face it, what's he working with here? He doesn't have the talent to win yet. So hopefully they made progress in that they haven't gotten blown out by anybody yet. There's progress.
Right, but let's not kid ourselves. Lovie also wasn't even on the radar. They hired him without even interviewing him. Lovie was like, oh, guess I'm the new head coach. So I clearly don't think he was the first choice for the Houston Texans. But I also think that once you lock in with Lovie, you got to ride it out at least a little while. In today's NFL, that means usually it means at least 2 years. It used to be you had at least 3 years. But there's a little bit of panic. Like, this has been 3 competitive games for the Texans. It's not to excuse anything away. I'm not happy with what I've seen at all, frankly, and I don't think they've learned to win, and I think Lovie blew an opportunity to try to teach a team how to win. And the only thing what's the worst thing that could have happened? You had a loss? Big deal. You've lost tons of times. Yeah. Getting a tie is not going to be better than potentially making a winning play, but this season's not over. There's still time to get a whole lot better. Yeah. They're not a playoff team, but there's still a chance to win more than 4.5 games.
No, the good news is haven't been blown out yet. Yay, Texans. Let's take a quick break here and a message from Access Vascular Health. If you're older and you think that you have a prostate issue, then it's time to come and see Dr. Michelle Manavis, isn't it?
Going in is the first step, just speaking to one of us. Most of the time we hear incomplete emptying, urinary frequency, erectile dysfunction, dysfunction, speaking to me about how this has been affecting your life is really the first step to finding the care that you actually need.
If you think you have an enlarged prostate, one place to go, 975prostate.com. Now, Lance, Lovie said something curious in his press conference after this loss to the Bears. He's seeing improvement out of Rex Burkhead week to week. Is Rex Burkhead a rookie again? Is Rex Burkhead, is this what we're looking for? Improve, or do we already know what Rex Burkhead is as a second string running back?
You know who he is. Who's asking a question about what was the question where Lovie is forced to comment on Rex Burkhead's
What do you
growth?
think of Rex Burkhead as the backup running back? Well, we're seeing improvement out of him. What?
Okay, maybe there has been improvement from what they saw in practice. I don't know. It's a weird. It's strange. It's not that strange for a Lovie Smith, the guy who's going to punt instead of go for a win, to want to have the guy who's the nice, safe, is a pro's pro, probably works his ass off, hits the weight room, does the stuff in the meeting room, stays extra, doesn't fumble, knows his assignments. That's going to be something that a head coach loves, right? A guy that's reliable, dependable. Here's the problem. He's not having any juice. Just no juice there. And Dameon Pierce is a guy that has some power, some strength, is a hard, ferocious runner. It'd be nice to have a second running back that had some run catch, some run catch capability that you could run as a third down back, but also had a little bit more quickness and burst, like a Darrington Evans I saw is on a team's practice squad. He formerly was a second-round pick from Appalachian State of the Titans. Finding a guy that has some juice would be nice too, because Rex doesn't have that. But it is amazing that we're in a position where Texans fans talk almost as much about Rex Burkhead as they do about anyone else on the Texans. Rex Burkhead's like, guys, I don't want to be in the limelight. Trust me, I'm just sitting here trying to earn my paycheck. But the Texans have put him in a position where
but again,
he
I
comes
think
up a lot.
He personifies what's wrong with the Houston Texans. All right, this is safe.
Yeah.
This is solid. This is just it's not
fine.
explosive. It's just fine.
This
it's
is
good
fine.
enough. Let's just not listen. And maybe Lovie is caping for a New England player that Nick Caserio has to have, a Nick Caserio type player, Camu Grugier-Hill, a Christian Kirksey, guys that are just okay. They're just average, and but that's okay. It's not okay. And I think Rex Burkhead, because he gets the ball and he's taking Dameon Pierce off the field, people are pissed about it. And that's why Rex Burkhead is
It's not Rex's fault.
No, it's not Rex's fault.
It's not Rex's
but
fault.
It's an organizational problem. Stop with this. It's
but
okay.
Dameon Pierce,
this is safe.
Stop
this
fumbling.
is good enough.
Stop fumbling, Dameon Pierce, or you would have been in the game. Dameon Pierce can't fumble twice in the game. That can't happen.
No, he can't. But you know what? He still ran for 80 yards.
Yeah, it was good.
4 yards
That's
a carry,
a
and he was explosive. Okay, so
yeah, and that's something to be happy about. I'd like a better second running back. I'm fine with him going to the bench after the fumble. That's the way it goes. Have a better second running back, and that's not Rex Burkhead's fault. Frankly, right now, that's going to be the fault of Nick Caserio and Lovie Smith.
That's all right. Rex is going to keep catching it. Even if it's not his fault. There's a lot of things that people do, Lance, that aren't their fault, but they're going to catch hell for it. And Rex Burkhead is one of them.